Okay, grab your coffee, a glass of wine, or something a little bit stronger if you need it, and let's talk about getting out of debt. If you're new here, my name is Sean, and my goal is to take you with me on my journey to financial freedom and help you do the same. I thought we could sit and have a heart-to-heart chat about getting out of debt, even if you're not making a lot of money. So get comfortable and let's talk about it. This is a judgment-free zone because we've all been there. I've been there multiple times because things happen. Getting out of debt on a low income or with very little extra money coming in outside of your monthly expenses can be challenging, but it's not impossible. I'm going to be honest, it's not the most fun part of your financial journey. I personally like making money more, and that will come into play, but we'll get to that part later. Getting out of debt might not be fun and exciting, but it's necessary. And after you start making progress, you'll get more and more motivated to see it through to the end. It's kind of like working out. The hard part is getting started and making it a habit. But once you get going, it gets easier and easier. Let's talk about some real steps you can take to get out of debt. I know it might be scary, but you need to know exactly what your debt is, and I mean a real number. You need to know who you owe, how much you owe, and the interest rates. All of this information will be useful when creating your debt repayment plan. Get a copy of your credit report and go through it with a fine-tooth comb. Get a notebook and write down everyone you owe, how much you owe them, and your interest rates. For your credit cards, jot down your minimum payments and your due dates. This information is going to be helpful later. While you're going through your debts, this might be a good time to negotiate with some of your creditors. Some creditors may be willing to negotiate your repayment terms. You might be able to get lower interest rates, or if you're behind, they might be able to help you by offering you a repayment plan that's more manageable. It can't hurt to ask, but make sure you get any agreements in writing. Now that we know how much your debt is, we need to get our plan together, and we can't do that without a budget. If you don't already have one, you'll need to create a budget to know exactly where your money is going. There are many different budget techniques and ways to track your budget. I suggest choosing a budget that fits your personality so you can stick with it and it isn't a chore. You can watch this video and it'll give you some ideas on how to choose a budget that's right for you and your current financial situation. No matter what budgeting method you choose, you'll need to prioritize your essential needs. And I mean things like food, housing, utilities, and healthcare. And you need to do this before allocating any money towards other expenses. We'll be looking for ways to cut costs, but you have to have money to live. So we'll focus on basic necessities first in our budget. At this point, we have a good foundation set up. And we can now start making some adjustments that will hopefully free up some money so we can start paying off debt. Let's start by cutting costs. Look for areas where you can reduce your spending. This might involve cutting out non-essential expenses, finding cheaper alternatives, or negotiating current bills. You know the drill. Let's stop eating out. We don't need Starbucks every day. We might need to cut some streaming services, look for cheaper cell phone providers, whatever you need to do to cut down expenses. Do whatever you need to do to cut down expenses. Now, don't make the mistake of making your budget so lean that it's not realistic. Give yourself some padding in the budget for miscellaneous expenses, especially if you're new to budgeting and tracking your expenses. There are going to be some things that you forget to add to your budget, and you want to have some wiggle room and padding already built in so your budget isn't blown out of the water when these things happen. This one might be hard for you to do if your money is tight, but try to build an emergency fund. The purpose of this step is to prevent you from erasing all of your hard work in your debt repayment plan if an emergency happens. Emergencies are one of the top things that cause people to go into debt in the first place. It's a gut punch if you start paying off your debt and something happens and you get sent right back to square one. If you've never built an emergency fund, here's a video that you can watch later and it'll show you how to do it. Start by getting a $1,000 emergency fund saved up. Do this even if you only have $10 a pay period to put into it, or if you have to save the change that you have in your pocket at the end of each day. It's that important. This step should go without saying, but you need to avoid any new debt. Stop borrowing in any way until you're debt-free. This includes opening new credit cards, spending on your current credit cards, or buying anything with credit. And definitely avoid payday loans and cash advances because they are the worst when it comes to having extremely high interest rates. Are you still with me? I know this is a lot, but stay with me. Now we'll come up to our debt repayment plan. This is where we spell out and track exactly how we're going to pay off each debt. There are two common methods of debt repayment. The debt snowball method involves paying off the smallest debts first to gain momentum, while the debt avalanche method involves paying off the debt with the highest interest rates first to save on overall interest paid. You'll have to choose the method that works better for you. There's no wrong answer here. Choose the method that will keep you motivated to reach your end goal. I'm a debt snowball kind of girl, so I have a free debt snowball spreadsheet that you can grab in the description. I'll also link a video that will show you how to use it. Now this is actually the fun part for me. Looking for and trying out new ways of making more money. I think having multiple streams of income coming in makes the path to financial freedom much easier to navigate. Look for ways to earn more money. This might mean picking up a part-time job, freelancing, selling unused items, or finding ways to monetize a hobby. If you know my channel, you know that I do a lot of videos about selling on Etsy and other types of side hustles. And I have an entire playlist dedicated to making extra money, and I will leave that linked in the description so you can check it out. Remember, getting out of debt is a journey, and it's okay to make adjustments along the way. Here's something I want you to do. Take the time to celebrate your progress. This might sound silly, but you'll be surprised at how it will help you stay committed to your goal. Financial stability takes time and discipline, but it's definitely worth it at the end. Are you curious about which budgeting method fits your personality? Click on the video that I have right here and let's go find out. I'll meet you over there.